Hey guys, in today's video I'll be doing another tropical update on both of these new two disturbances that the NHC is continuing to monitor. And now officially the NHC has dubbed them Invests 99L and 90L. I'm not sure which one is 99L or 90L. Maybe if we go to tropical tidbits, we go to satellite imagery, which do they tell us? They do not tell us yet. Okay, well that's unfortunate. Yeah, both these disturbances are now invests. Nevertheless, this one in the tropical central tropical Atlantic moving into the western tropical Atlantic has a 20% chance of formation within the next 2 days and a 30% chance of formation within the next 5 days. This second disturbance currently has a 0% chance of formation within the next 2 days and a 40% chance of formation within the next 5 days. So I'd assume that for this second disturbance, once we get to tomorrow or Monday, we'll start to see that 2-day percentage start to go up a bit. If we look at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook, this first disturbance it has the potential to develop between where it is now and getting into the central and western Caribbean Sea. So it has a fairly big area to develop, and we'll see what happens with each of these. The second disturbance has this area. It's a bit smaller, but this whole area to develop into something. And I gotta say, these two systems will be quite interesting to see because there is lots of high shear and dry air now that both these systems have to contend with in the Atlantic. So we'll have to see if these two systems will be kind of like all of the other tropical systems that we've seen all year, where if any of them did interact with any shear or dry air, they were able to fend them off completely and just continue to except for Josephine, but otherwise, all those other systems were able to fight all that stuff off and continue to kind of intensify or sustain being a tropical system. So that'll be very, very interesting to see play out. Now let's go to tropical tidbits, and we'll show you the forecast models. The 12Z run of the GFS actually is continuing to come in currently. Alright, so let me show you what the GFS is showing. Now, the GFS still is not that keen on showing that first disturbance forming whatsoever at all. Now, with the second disturbance, shows it kind of taking a while to move, and then it starts to show, you see right in the middle of your screen there's that low pressure system for that second disturbance. And it's not exactly showing too much of that strong of a system exactly, but it does show it kind of just meandering out in the middle of the Atlantic and kind of gaining some strength, but not all that much. Actually, as we head towards the end of the run, and this goes all the way out to September 11th, 318 hours out. This is pretty far out, of course. This is way more than 7 to 10 days out, so it's not fully reliable at this point. But you can see the GFS is continuing to show potential for more tropical systems to happen. Though one of the things that really, really is interesting to me, especially in the closer range, between now and about, I'd say it's about September 4th, 5th, there is this tropical system, it seems, to kind of start to form out of this big area of precipitation in the southeast and Florida, and it will move off into the Atlantic. In fact, you know what? Let me zoom this in to a closer view of it. Let's see. Let's go to the eastern U.S. You can see it's right there. And as we move this forward in time, you can see it kind of gains some strength a bit. So we'll see. There is that potential for maybe this system to kind of happen. This is very close in time, moving out into the next few days into this upcoming week. So this could become a named system. We'll see. It has a lot of precipitation to it, so it seems some decent vorticity with it. Let me see if I can show you the vorticity at all. Let's go to vorticity for this system. Oop, and we gotta let this load in. But let's see. Yeah, you can see the GFS does show some pretty strong vorticity with that system as it moves up and away from the East Coast into the Atlantic. But that'll be very, very interesting to see. This could be a fully tropical system. I doubt it would be a subtropical system, especially with how far into the season we are. It's pretty hard to get subtropical systems, honestly, at this point in time. So this could be a tropical system, a fully tropical system. So that'll be quite interesting. Though, let's go back and show you the North Atlantic again, and go back to the MSLP and precip. I'll show you what the European is showing actually, moving forward out in time, and you can see it's not really showing much of anything for either system. Though I do want to show you, this goes out to September 8th, so Tuesday, September 8th, so kind of about 10 days out, and shows a pretty strong vorticity of a potential tropical system coming off of pretty central northern Africa, kind of north of the Cabo Verde Islands even, so that'll be quite interesting to see. But it's not really showing too much of anything really for the other tropical systems, though, well, it does show some very small tight vorticity for that first disturbance, and it really just shows it going to the Caribbean and hitting Central America and then dying out. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Both of these systems don't look too impressive to become anything that's major or anything like that, or any potential threat to the U.S. So we don't fully have to worry about that at all, to be honest, I don't think. Though it will be interesting to track, see what each one does. This is a CMC model, and you can see the CMC model does show some tight system, a very small tight system for that first disturbance hitting Central America and then dissipating. Then there's that second disturbance there, moving slowly starting to move into the Central Tropical Atlantic. And in fact, if I zoom the camera in a bit, you can see down to 998 millibars. So, it's a forming system, like a tropical storm, maybe a weak to maybe moderate tropical storm. We'll see, but that's quite interesting as well. Does the CMC at all? It does kind of show that potential system forming out of the southeast and moving off the east coast and out to sea as well, just like the GFS does, maybe to a bit of a weaker extent, but that is quite interesting to take note of. That'll be quite interesting to see if the NHD does see that and potentially does tag that and potentially monitor it for any potential development whatsoever. So that's kind of what the models are showing for the tropics currently going into this following week, with these two tagged disturbance areas that the NHC is monitoring, and then there's also that potential maybe for that other system coming off the East Coast, which would be quite interesting as well. That looks to also potentially, if it does happen, just kind of form off the East Coast and just continue towards the far north and east and out to sea. So doesn't look like it would become anything of major impacts towards the East Coast of the United States anywhere at all. So it's still something interesting to watch. Now, if we look at the La Nina, it is on a bit of an upswing there. As you can see, it's kind of going back up towards negative 0.5 degrees Celsius. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, it does fluctuate within amounts of time, certain amounts of time. You can see some areas are still kind of in a bit of a decline, but the Nino 4 region, went back positive, so that's quite interesting. And the Nino 1+2 region is still quite cold and kind of holding steady at the moment, kind of, but a bit warmer than it was. So we'll just have to see, and this is kind of, I think, what the general La Nina is looking like right now. You can see it's generally pretty cold, but there's some pretty decent amounts of warm pockets within there. So I think it's generally still trying to form. We're gonna have to give it a bit more time to really try and get its act together and and we'll have to wait and see when we could officially go into a official La Nina Enso phase. So that'll be quite interesting to see. The sea surface temperatures for the North Atlantic in general are quite warm. Now, the Gulf has cooled down a little bit, though it's still, because of Laura, but it's still quite warm. Generally, in a way, kind of as warm as the Caribbean. But you can see it's generally still anywhere between 29 degrees Celsius towards 31 degrees Celsius, so it's still very, very warm. The Mid-Atlantic Northeast New England coast, though, the temperatures are actually declining and cooling off pretty rapidly in a way, but that's quite interesting because it was decently pretty warm and a lot warmer than typical. Now the MDR region and the subtropics region near Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, that's all quite warm. The MDR region is still warming up, and but it's still very conducive for if the conditions are all fully right for any tropical system to move into that area and try and develop into potentially something major or not. So this is gonna be pretty interesting to see as we head into September and see how the rest of the season goes for the United States for this year's hurricane season. Now, we've had a total of 14 depressions, total of 13 storms, 4 total hurricanes, and 1 major hurricane. The total fatalities is now up to 87, and the total damage is now up towards, or maybe a little above, $13.76 billion in damage. Laura has caused officially at or maybe somewhat above $8 billion in total damage. It was a Category 4 at its peak, strong Category 4, 937 millibars, 150 miles per hour, just short of being in Category 5. But you can see in total so far it's killed 41 people, and total damage, as I said, caused at or somewhat above $8 billion in damage. So it's it's been the most damaging and deadly storm of the season thus far. But we'll see. They haven't actually yet figured out how much total damage Marco caused, but Marco did kill 1 person. But we'll see how much damage Marco will potentially have totally caused. Now, we've gone again through the M name, which was Marco. That's 13 names already. So next name on the list is Nana, the N name. And depending on how both these current systems, Invest 99L and 90L from the NHC that they're monitoring right now, we'll see if they do get their act together, what they do in terms of fighting off that strong wind shear and dry air that's there. We could see them maybe become Nana and Omar. It'll be interesting though to see actually really what potentially if that East Coast kind of system does, if that kind of forms and is potentially started to be monitored by the NHC and potentially could be a tropical system. We could see that maybe become a named storm at some point. We'll see. I don't know, but we'll just have to continue to monitor the Atlantic. It'll be very, very interesting. I do think going through September, we are going back into a sinking air phase of the MJO. So that could hinder how much total development we see in September. It could end up being not as active as we originally would think it would be, but we'll see what happens, because especially since September is the actual peak month of the hurricane season, that typically has a lot of activity going on with it. So even if we're in a sinking air phase of the MJO, a lot of activity could still happen. So that'll be interesting to see. And then as we head into October, November, that's a pretty big question mark as to what could happen during those months. But sometimes October can be pretty active and potentially more active than we typically would think. So that'll be interesting as we head closer to October, what could happen. But we'll see if we can get through how many more names we can get through. The Greek alphabet, we'll see if we get there. We could enter the Greek alphabet once we head into October, but that may start to look now a little less likely. So we'll see. Anyway, up to this point, though, the hurricane season has been very, very active, and we've gone through 13 names already, and it's just been crazy. So I'm not complaining with how much activity we've seen. We'll see how much more activity we get, but that'll be interesting to see anyway. But anyway, this was a kind of a quick update on what the NHC is monitoring right now for the tropics and what we could be seeing moving forward into this upcoming week. Hopefully you enjoyed. Please consider liking and subscribing and comment below on your thoughts at all of what's going on right now in the tropics. If you're a first-time viewer, please also consider subscribing. If you enjoyed what you saw in this video and you enjoyed kind of what I'm doing on my channel with all these tropics videos and all these kinds of weather videos. If you enjoyed that kind of content, please consider subscribing if you're a first-time viewer, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.